Welcome back, everybody. Today I got a new update, version 4 for the Koda pack. This would be for the colors model with IP adapter, SUPIR, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And so I wanted to show you what the new workflows are going to be in the latest pack. So let's just dive straight in. First, we've got IPA Samplers V24. So what is it? It's essentially a quick all-in-one colors workflow which allows you to put a bunch of images into the batch. Okay, you might have seen something like this before. And what it's going to do is it's going to give you some alternate samplers. All right. Now, that's the main change on this particular workflow. So we've got a base workflow, which we can use by deactivating the samplers and the IP adapter and selecting model switch 1. And that is going to give us an image. Okay, and then we get our first image. Right, now there's no IP adapter, and we've got a bit of a strangeness on her eye there. I also do want to announce that the aspect size is now in Comfy UI, and what I've done is I have made a new version of aspect size, so it won't break your workflows. If I go aspect size V2, and it's exactly the same as the old aspect size, the only difference is I've exposed the downscale factor. It used to default to 16, all right, and that was a specific value which I found worked well with stable Cascade, which was something that came out a while back. But I found that if you actually use modulo 64, which is what it basically is, the downscale factor is a modulo, it makes sure that whatever aspect ratio gets picked, which is a total of 1024 by 1024, whatever it picks, is going to be it's going to be 64. It won't ever make an amount in between. So it has to divide by 64. And it's doing that with some math. So that's one thing. And if I just do this again with the same seed, you'll be able to see the difference. And as you can see, it actually makes a huge difference in terms of fixing the composition. So that's a big deal. All right. So downscale factor of 64. I don't think it's the default value, but I was just trying to get it registered with Comfy UI. I can do an update to make sure that the default value is 64. Just remember to change it for now. All right. So from this point, what we want to do is we obviously want to put a bunch of images inside our IP adapter, and then we're going to activate it. So we're going to say IP adapter on. We're going to say alternate sample. Well, we'll just do the IP adapter first. So switch the model to 2 as it indicates enable 2. And remake this image. And this time we're going to be using a whole bunch of sort of futuristic ecology. And what do we get? There we go. So now what it's done is it's almost taken the aesthetic of this and used it to create a color grade, which I think is pretty cool. This has come out really nice. So I'm happy with that. I also want to show you the alternate samplers. So if I enable those and just generate again, and then what we're going to get is some, again, same seed and everything. Now I've created this specifically so that you can experiment with different combinations easily. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. So here we have the perturbed with 2M alt, SGM uniform, 0.3 CFG for perturbed. And as you can see, it gives a very different look to the image. If we take a look at the EULA, this is 2M alt Caris without the perturbed and a CFG of 8. It's a little bit more like the default output. Obviously, if we were to turn off the IP adapter there and just make them all again without the IP adapter, it's going to take away all of those tokens from the image gen, put us back to what we were at, and then we'll get a different perturbed output. All right, there you go. I still think the perturbed has a really nice output to it. Just looking at the steps, 20 steps, 2M alt SGM uniform. Okay. I think we've got a denoise of 0.9. It's kind of hidden. If you right click, you can see it says set denoise. Let me right click there. Set denoise. So you can change the denoise even though there's no thing for it. It's quite strange. Be nice if you could expose that, but maybe you can. So from that point, we move on to the next workflow. So I just wanted to show you, one more thing. If you want to compare more combos, just make the group bigger like this. And then I've done this so that you can just copy and paste. And this is why I call it the sampler garden, because it's possible to plant as many as you want. The only thing you have to do is hook up the seed. As you say, it's the garden, right? I'm going to hook up the seed and then it's good. And say I wanted to find out, what does it look like with 3M GPU on Keras with 25 steps and 6 CFG? I wonder what that looks like, yeah? And off we go. You can obviously change the rename, but it's going to default to IPA Koda. And there we go, it's cooked, right? So how about we just reduce the steps to like 15? Oh God, it's still horribly cooked. So anyway, this is what I'm saying, it's a way for you to experiment quickly and tweak things. And like I said, you can just tweak a quick value and it'll only change that when you have it on seed fixed. So that's what the seed garden's all about. And obviously when you're not using it, you can just turn it off. Then it's just a standard basic workflow. But obviously it's got this function built in, right? So now we understand what this is and what it's doing. We can move on to the IPA merge sampler garden. So this is the second workflow in the new pack. And strangely, what it's doing is it's actually doing a merge of an SDXL model with colors. And it works. So, I mean, this might unlock some capabilities, don't know. But ultimately, we have the IPA adapter up top. We have the samplers, the alt sampler garden here, so the perturbed and another one for you to mess around with. And then we also have the actual merge and its outputs. So all of this is just one, okay? But down here, what I'm doing is I'm comparing this is the SDXL control output. So this is what would have come out had it been just prompted with SDXL with the model that we're using. Here is the merged output in the middle, and then up the top is what colors would have made. We're using the same seed for everything. Obviously, with the SDXL, it'll be probably a different image because it's coming from a completely different base. But that's the whole point of what we're doing here. One thing worth noting is if we go over here, setting this will activate or deactivate IP adapter for the whole thing. So if we have it off for now, let's start here and put it to 1. Let's make our image. Okay, and that gives us an output of that, right? So now let's put the IP adapter on. In fact, no, we'll do the alternate samplers first. Right? Are we on same seed? Yes. Okay, so that means we're going to get our, what's this, Euler output and perturbed output. So when I keep saying that, it's perturbed attention guidance 3. And that's what allows us to do the low CFG with 2M alt. So it's giving us quite an interesting different look. Very analog photo, as opposed to like HD or like a Nikon, Canon type look. All right. So now I've got those switched on. We're going to activate the IP adapter again. Same inputs as before, just that futuristic ecology type with lots of clouds and things, right? So it should just influence the style. We're doing style transfer. Let's just change the aspect size again. I just want to, because like I said, that's a recent thing. I did this last night, so the workflows don't have this in them yet. And I do think it's much better. It's like good, I would have just updated the node, but I didn't want to cause problems. So there we go. Do it again, and we should get a better image, I think. Yeah, much better. Smaller, though. Ah, it's on SDXL. Right, let's start again so that we can see everything properly here. So this is going to be no. This is with the new aspect size. Obviously, that did make a difference. So, like I said, that modulo 64 is a big fix. Like I said, it's an old trick from Stable Diffusion. Back in the day, you had to use safe values of 64. You know, they had to be divisible by 64. So that's what this does. It automatically tries to target the best ratio closest in 64. So anyway, right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put the alternate samplers on and just see what they look like. Oh, wow, that's interesting. Okay, so that's what we get from Euler. And then that's what we get from the perturbed. Very cool looks out of the perturbed. Right, cool. Okay, and now we're going to turn IP adapter on. It's all same seed, same prompt, same model at the moment. This is just colors. I'm going to kind of step you through it so you can see how the system works. It's really easy to use. Okay, so we get the exact same image there. That's weird. Oh, did I forget to do something? Yes, I did. Model 2, please. Yeah, I forgot to switch the model. When you activate IP adapter, it's got a 2 in brackets. You've got to switch to model 2. Otherwise, it doesn't use IP adapter. There we go. We get that cool analog look back. So let's see what it's going to do with these. Okay, so look at that. So it's giving it much more photorealistic detail, which is interesting because I used a bunch of buildings and trees and stuff. And this is giving a really nice soft focus effect. This is really good. Even the straw doesn't look, I mean, it's stuck in her tooth, which is a bit weird, but I've seen weirder. That looks really good. It almost looks like she's actually using it. Don't know why there's a strawberry on the milkshake. And then here we have the iced tea with the KFC. Okay. Right. So at this point, you understand what we're doing. So what I'm going to do now is activate the SDXL control. And that is going to load us. Oh, something's wrong. What's wrong? Ah, my bad. I need to move that out of there and unmute it. There we go. It'll work now. So while that loads, we'll do the time skip. There we go. Right, so she's drinking an incredibly small can of Coca-Cola. The KFC bucket in the background's pretty accurate. Don't know what's going on with this man's face, but yeah, maybe he really wants some chicken. So here we go. Right, so that's what we would have got out of SDXL from this setup. So now what we're going to do is we're going to activate this, which is the merged colors timeline, right? So it's still using the IP adapter, so I don't think, no, that doesn't actually come into play here. This is going to have its own model down here. So what we're going to do is not worry about that, I think. So what it's going to do is it's going to merge the model with a ratio of 0.7. We're going to improve that in a minute. It's then going to do automatic CFG with analog photo helper, because it did look like analog already, to be honest. And then we're going to do align your steps. All the default settings are here. We're using DPM, PPM, 2M. All right. And then we get that, which is actually a very good analog photo for SDXL. So it's like I said, it's not what we would have got from SDXL. It's more like what we were getting from colors, but it's sort of somewhere in between. And this is with where is it? Is that no? None of these are perturbed. I don't think the perturbed worked with this. I think it made garbage, but it could just be I need to find the right settings, and that's kind of why I have this garden where I can just copy this entire section, duplicate that, and then connect the seed and just experiment. So when you find a good point, you can just quickly, without having to do everything every time. So that's the whole point of this sort of system. I hope you can see how that works. sometimes I found that the IP adapter was actually taking up a lot. And so I was often finding I would be turning off the alternate samplers and the IP adapter so that I could just, save a bit of compute. So I just end up working with this section really. There is, like I said, an alternate sampler built in here, so you don't have to have it all switched on. If you're working with large resolutions, it's a good idea to fold down some of these previews as well, especially with the video, but we'll get into that in another video. So I've still got 2 more of these, and the last one is the best one, so don't go anywhere. So let's just quickly go on to the next one, which is essentially the exact same thing that we were just looking at. The only difference is that I have removed the IP adapter. Okay, so it's exactly the same, right? So we've got the basic here, we've got the alternate samplers here, we've got the merge here, but there's a difference with this merge. This merge uses the fake cubic Hermite merge pattern. All right. So let me just disable the alternate samplers real quick, and we can show what color standard versus merge looks like. Whenever you do it, you can use any SDXL checkpoint. I'm using Real Jugs Hermit, okay, which was basically created using the same profile, okay? So what we're going to do is now use the same profile again to merge it with the UNET of colors. All right. So with all that being said, let's give it a merge. The first thing is first, it's going to have to load everything up again, and then it's going to give us our first image. Now for this one, the prompt is, cool, it's my cool jet ski. So this is my jet ski redux. I wish I was on a jet ski prompt. And what we're going to do is we're now going to merge that, right? And in any second now, we're going to get the combine. And like I said, it's quite interesting what it does. I don't know what it's going to do till it does it, And then obviously we had the SDXL standard output. May as well turn that on just so you can see what that would have been. Okay, in fact, we'll do the alternate samplers as well for the next job. All right. So it looks like we got it on a different seed, have we? Yeah, I got it on a different seed. So it's going to flash through some images. What the? Oh, I've got a different prompt down the bottom, have I? Oh, that's interesting. Well, hang on a minute. Let me just take this prompt real quick. Ah, nuts. Do you see what it just did? It didn't copy the text. It still had what I copied earlier. Oh, boy. There, I think I got it all. Right, cool. So what I wanted to do there was I wanted to copy the text in, because obviously I need to see what's going on as a fair comparison to what we were already doing. Then we can have a look at the car, right? Okay, cool. Now I'll take the car. And all right, let's see some of these images then. We got jet ski. Somehow we've got a car in there. Anyway, that's cool. I probably just said vehicle. I do like that. That's pretty sweet. It's really cool. More jet ski fantasy, but no one's on it. Bad times. Yeah, see, the merge is doing crazy stuff right now. It was much more coherent last time I tried it. Okay. And this is why, although it works, it's not reliable, and I don't really think... well, it's kind of working. Occasionally it spits out errors. But, it's my job to give you all the options. Oh, did it again. It's probably my fault. Yeah. Right, so we got both of our prompts, just in case we want to use them later. Let's just make sure that we've got it the same. Cool. All right, now let's give it a go with that one. And we're nearly done with this, and then we can get on to the last one. The last one's a lot of fun. For a long time, I've been searching for the right upscale strategy. And I think what I'm going to end up doing is making an upscale garden, which is a bit like the sampler garden. That's where I got the idea. Ooh, that's pretty damn good. Perturbed is like an amazing little thing. I'm becoming a big fan. Damn, okay. Okay, and that's what we would have got out of Euler SGM uniform. And I'll just put a collection of all the upscaling techniques together with an image input, and you can just mess around with it. Copy whichever one you want out and put it in your workflow. Ooh, look at that. See, when you do the merge, it's definitely, do you see what I mean? It's not like just a difference because we've changed the sampler, if you see what I'm saying. This is what we got out of SDXL. This is what we got out of colors. These are very similar. So this is an SDXL only output, right? And then this is a colors only output, right? They're both good and bad for their own reasons. If we were to use Euler, we get something like this. This is like sort of stock output, right? And then this is the perturbed stuff, which is like one of the new tricks. And it definitely does a better job. It definitely does a better job. I mean, if you just like noised that up and did a bit of depth blur, you probably got yourself a good photo there already. All right, so here we have the merger. And as you can see, the merger is doing stuff, right? It's giving us completely new outputs. So it's definitely working. It definitely has value. It's not like glitched out, if you see what I mean. But it remains to be seen how valuable it is. It'd be interesting to know if we can like load a Lora in here now. I'm not sure. The way I've got it set up, it's just taking the conditioning from up here. And I know you can't load a Lora into this method. But there might be a way to like load it into a model. Maybe bake the Lora into a model and then merge that. That's always an option. The problem is that the clip model is different. So you can't just, when you load the Lora, it's just the model, not the clip. And that's kind of like half of it. You see what I mean? And it does work, but it's not really loading the full memory that you've trained in. So it's like limited value, in my opinion. Okay, so let's get on to that last one because I'm like mumbling about things now. Here we go. Koda Colors Upscalers. So this, I'm going to update all of this text and stuff by the time you download it, so don't worry about that. So first things first, let's just disable everything, right? No switch on this one. So we've got the colors base and we've got the extra samplers, all right? So this is for if you wanted to generate some images to work with for the later process. But to be honest, you only need to put the image you want to work with right here. What it's going to do is it's going to set the image input as whatever. Yeah, so you connect this to here and it's going to image input, right? So this will come in. This will come in. It's important. You'll see. All right. So just to go over it with the easy nodes, what we've done is we've set a reference to everything. Everything has a reference and it's always loaded outside of the groups. So right now, this is the image base. So if you're using this, image base is that one, right? This one is image perturbed. So again, if you're generating images up here, image perturbed can be just picked, right? And then if you're using image Euler, again, you can pick it. I'll show you how. So if we go down and we activate the first section, which is the colors upscaler, right? There it is. Now, there is an image input right here. And it's set to image input. Now that is this. All right. Now you say, well, why didn't you just hook it up? And I'll say, because if you want to take it from there, you can just choose image perturbed instead, or image base, or image Euler, right? So you can pick which one you want. I'm going to leave it on image input and disable the top line just for the sake of compute. There we go. So when you get your image, it's going to upscale it. So let's do it. And I'll open that up. Now, because these images get quite big, I tend to minimize the previews, right? Or the save image preview. So I think this might take a second, so give it a minute. Actually, it didn't take that long. Okay. So let's just see what this actually does. So what it's doing a 2x upscale with foolhardy mimicry with a simple upscale prompt, obviously using the image input there. Passes that into Ultimate SD Upscale, which is set to use the colors model with the self-guided attention, or a self-attention guidance, sorry. And then I'm using 2M-SGM GPU Keras with 0.2 denoise on chess. We got 5 steps and 2 CFG. We're doing a tile width of 768 by 768. Mask blur is 8, tile padding is 32, and it's pretty much, I think, defaults from here on down. We do force uniform tiles, but we do not activate the tile decode. We then go into a bicubic 2 upscale, 2 times upscale, and then save it, and you'll notice I've set that to image upscale 1, because that's what this is. This is image upscale 1, right? So then we save that image, and as you can see, it's done a great job of upscaling it, right? We've only gone 2x at this point. We've gone 2x, we fixed it, and then we've gone 2x again, right? And saved it. But it's not been like, basically what we're doing is funny. We're upscaling, then we're doing a no upscale with 0.2 denoise, with tiling in the chest, like I say, and then upscale it again, but don't do anything with it, save it, and now we can pass it on to the next stage. Of course, if you don't really want to upscale it that far, you don't have to go all the way. I recommend stopping at Supir, okay? But you can continue 2, 3, make it better and better and better. I do find you lose a little bit of the Supir details in the remaining ones, but it's still really good and better than the original. But like I said, you will see. So what we've done is we've activated the Supir. So I don't think I've got any of the seeds being changed. I believe they're all set to seed 1 or 0 or something like that. Let me just check. Yeah, this one's set to seed 1. Again, the prompt, I'm just using my Real Jugs Hermit, and it's going to be an upscale prompt. All right, we've got the HYPER SDXL 8-step Lora, which helps with this process a little bit. And as you can see, we have it set here to image upscale 1. So if you remember, at the end of this stage, it says image upscale 1. So that means that this image is going to go into the Supir stage. Now, if you don't want to use Supir, because it does use a bit of memory, you can do this. Disable HYPER SUPIR, and then when we go down to the next stage, instead of saying image Supir, we can just say image upscale 1, and that is going to bypass Supir entirely, and then you're just using this upscale. So to just save a bit of time, I'll demo that for you now. So I can now activate 2 and 3, and that will go. Now, while it's doing that, and it's going to lag like hell, so I'm going to actually remove that. What it's going to do, this is already 1080p, basically, as close to 1080p as you can get, right? At this stage, we've already got there. We're around that sort of area of pixels, yeah? What this stage would have done is basically sort of give it a little bit more photorealistic detail to that final upscale, right? And so it's already gone 2 and 2. So we've already got up to 1080p. So when we come down to here, we're going to do the same thing again. Okay, so we've got image upscale 1, and we're going to do the fix, upscale it by 2x again, and then save it as image upscale 2. Now in stage 3, obviously I think you can guess, we're going to go image upscale 2 as the input, and at the end, image upscale 3 as the output. And what I've got finally, so we can show you guys, is image base. Wait a minute. No, not image base. Image input. Image input. Oh, it's going to be wrong, isn't it? Well, I'll run it one more time at the end, and it should just do this last bit. Because it's nearly done. But basically, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the first image and the last image together in this final comparer. But it will lag like hell, because it's going to be a 12K. It's going to be like 91 megabytes by the end. So this is a huge upscaler. You know, 4K was cool. 8K was cooler. And like I said, 12K is just... And it is actually, you know, it's not just getting bigger and looking worse. It does actually get better. So, you know, there's an improvement. But I wanted to show you, this is how you bypass SUPIR, because it's much, much easier on the system. I'm well below 12 gigabytes throughout this process, even when you get to the end. Even when you get to here, it's touching 10, I think, right now. So that's pretty amazing. All right. But after this, we'll show the SUPIR loop, because essentially it's the same. All we do here is we set stage 2 to SUPIR, and then we set the, what is it? I just have to enable it. Where's my toggles? There they are. So then we enable SUPIR. There we go. SUPIR is already set up to take upscale 1, which is this one. And then it's going to output as SUPIR. So then SUPIR is the input here. So now we've, you know, we've just reconnected it, right? Now, obviously, if you don't want to do the final one there, you can obviously turn that off. Now, I just had a thought, which is that this thing should be separate. So I should put this somewhere else entirely. Like somewhere off on its own, maybe, I don't know. Maybe down here in its own group, perhaps. Because really, that could be anything. You know, the way it's set up, you can just pick 2 images. And as long as those exist, you know, as long as you haven't disabled them, like you can't use base, perturbed, or EULA because obviously they're disabled right now. But you could use input, upscale 1, obviously SUPIR. It hasn't been run yet, but once you've run it, there will be an image set there, and then obviously upscale 2 and upscale 3. So right now you can't pick upscale 3. Well, hang on a minute. Let's just do what we wanted. So I wanted to actually see it. So it shouldn't do the whole thing again. Have I got it? I don't. There might be a seed being changed yet. Oh no, I never did SUPIR yet. Right, that's what it is. Okay, cool. So it's going to do the SUPIR quickly. And then at the end of it, we should be able to take a look at the image comparer. So let's just open that up. It's struggling. It's really struggling because it's such a big image. Like, I don't think. I think I'll wait until it's not chugging. But yeah. I assure you, it looks better. I swear. You'll have to trust me. Okay, let's take a quick look. Now, the compression is always killer on the YouTube video, so we might have to put a gallery up on the website just to sort of show some of these off. But this is at 24%, so if I go at 1:1, and this would be the first image that came out of it, right? So it only gets better from here. If I now go to the next image, no, wrong way. If I go to the next image, you can see the difference. Can I do arrow keys? Yeah. So as you can see, there's a difference between the two. Let's just go full screen real quick. So left, that's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now we'll go to 3. 3. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 4. So going back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I appreciate it's like, well, what the hell am I looking at? It's just a frog. I can't even tell the difference. The compression is killer on YouTube. So let's just see the difference. All right. So if I go back to frog 1, if we go to right now, that's at 37%. This is at 18%. This is at 9%. So, and then we're back to 37%, 37%, 18%. So 37, 18, 9. 37, 18, and it's making the 9th again, right? So it's doing the SUPIR version right now. So this is the version without SUPIR. So this would be like base, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. And then we go back to stage 1 again. So this is without SUPIR. So 1, 2, 3. Again, 37%, 18%, 9%. So if I just show you 1-to-1, that's 1-to-1. Yeah. So now let's go to the next image. Come on, go to the next image, right? So this is the one at 18%. Now we'll go to 1-to-1. Look how much closer we are, yeah? And then if you know all about this, then, you know, I'm sorry for wasting your time, but this is important. So now at 9%, 1-to-1. That's a 1-to-1 crop now. Okay, so this is like a significant improvement in what you can do. I know it still looks blurry here, but I got a feeling there'll be ways to enhance the sharpness. At the moment, this is amazing. So if we look again, it's not non-destructive because it is making changes, but they're more like a color grade with a sort of texture buff, texture accuracy buff, I guess. From there to there is a huge jump. So again, if we go to the SUPIR now, this is a stage 1, and then we have stage 2. Yeah, we got stage 1 and stage 2. So that's a SUPIR stage 2. You can barely tell the difference. When you're doing upscaling stuff like this, it's like, well, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to make it textured again? Are we trying to sort of make it look more reflective? Are we trying to sharpen it up? It really does matter. And I think that this combination setup works well, but it's not, you know, you don't need it. You still get good results without SUPIR with this process. But I wanted to show you how I use it, which is actually a combination of both. So I will go image, stage 1 upscale, stage 2 is SUPIR, but it doesn't make it bigger at the end. You just sort of, basically it's like SUPIR is actually doing a high res fix here because I'm telling it to use the size when it comes in. So I'm using, this is like a SUPIR no upscale pass, which is what all of these are doing. So all I'm aiming to do is try to get some details out of SUPIR that it wouldn't have got out of colors, and then pass it on and let colors finish the remaining 2 stages. Can we use this now? Maybe. Yeah, we can. Okay, let's go right in. I think it might. Whoa, okay. So you can see the difference. Look at that buff in detail. That is just crazy. Now, I've been checking out the new Adobe. See, the actual enhancer they've advertised recently is only for DNG, RAW photos. So it doesn't really work with the stuff that we make yet. But if you just look at the detail but enhancement here, it's actually nuts. So obviously the blurry one is the normal image that you get, and then the sharper version is the good, the good one is after we've done all of this stuff. This is like a 12K image now. Okay, now obviously if we were to reduce this and add a bit of noise, it's going to look very photorealistic. Wow. That skin really pops. That texture is really good. Like if I go all the way, that's as far in as I can go in Comfy. Obviously you can go further in Photoshop if you want. But that's a very convincing Frog Knight. So that is basically everything I've got to tell you about this pack. So the big deal, which I hid for the people that went all the way through, there will be timestamps, but you know how it is. People, I just want you to have these tools in your hands. This is now going to be the new default sort of upscaling strategy. There will always be a little section. So what I'll do is I'll basically have this copied and it'll be in a lot of my updated workflows because I feel like this is going to work really well with SDXL. So there's no reason why it shouldn't work when applied to other things. So like I said, it's quite a basic technique. It's very nice and clean, just 5 steps at 2 with 0.2 on chess. Really cool, built-in tiling, very nice, very nice. So there it is. You don't need to use the top section really. I just have it there so you can use this as a one-stop shop. You know, generate some images, plonk them in there, off you go. So that's it. That is Koda Pack V4. Look for it on Civet and give us a rating. Please do add your own images and you can tag it so other people can see the stuff. And that's everything I got for you. So I'll see you in the next one. So, memberships are here. I've added donator and member. The donator membership is just you want to support the channel, help us grow. Member, you're going to get some exclusive video access. So look out for the upcoming date and check out the join now button for more information. Back to the video.